how's it going, DATV viewers? Christian here, and this is episode 2 of Boss It. I am Christian Ramos, and I am ready to boss. So today, I thought we'd take things a little, not so much on the nerd or geek side, but today, I thought we'd talk tech. Now, don't get me wrong, technology, as complicated as it is, can be quite simple from time to time. I mean, the code can range from a few, say, ones or zeros to an entire system network worth. But I mean, I've seen a few computers in my time, what was one? There was the Microsoft Windows 2000, but that was just an OS. I mean, I've been working with operating systems from time to time, such as Windows 10, of which I think is the best newest, which I think is not only the best, but also the newest. Because that it's been really fast and accelerated, because I've been using it for about a month and a half now. I can't even remember, but it's been worth all the time that I've spent on it, because it's got all new revamped versions of the classic applications that we had, like Paint. I mean, I used to love that one. There was also, I still haven't used Windows Movie Maker in a long time, so I better remember that. But since Windows 10's release, it's been panned by users. They always said XP was the best, and I'm not gonna lie, I agree with them. XP, the last time I saw it, was quite fluent. But that was when I was like 7 or 8, but I wouldn't remember anything about it, so I mean, last I remember Windows XP is that there used to be a few apps installed on it that were just video games that were given by the teachers, educational and whatnot. I was never really the type for that. I mean, don't get me wrong, using technology for education, that's a great idea. I should know. I've been using technology for 15 years now. And dare I say it, it's been quite an influence on my life, the likes of which I never thought would actually be possible before. But when it comes to technology, there's just something about it that I just don't get. So many critical files and such. Why do they have those? Well, the System32 file, out of all of them, is the most important, because that thing literally controls your entire system. And that's like a critical puzzle piece, as it say. But technology itself, if in the right hands, could be used to solve the world's problems. In the wrong hands, could cause more. I mean, there's been a few viruses in time. What's one? I think one of them was the CIH virus. I think that one caused the Chernobyl incident. I'm just working off of my mind here. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. But as with technology, as good as it is good, it's also dangerous, because I mean, there are spammers, phishers, even simple bots out there, and they're all trying to steal your data, your credit card information. Maybe there's your credit card information, there's your social security number, there's what computer you're using. I mean that's just three. That's just three of the facts that's just three of the things that anyone can steal. I mean sure, there's Windows Defender and such, but I mean that kind of stuff is old news. I mean, now there's Norton antivirus, all those kinds of security protection things out there. But we've managed to make ourselves quite the incredible technology users. I mean, slowly but surely, we've turned ourselves from a simple user-friendly idea into an entire linked network of users that pretty much anyone thought was pretty much impossible to think about. Mainly because that when computers were first introduced, which I'm not even sure when that date is, it was around I think the 1900s, but the first time they were introduced, they were pretty much just basic. They were like the DOS system that anyone knows, like MS-DOS. like 1.0, and you could do like nothing on them. They were about as basic as you could find them. They were like, you want to know how basic they were? They were about as basic as using a crayon on a black piece of paper. No, it's more basic than that. It's basic. It's about as basic as the code of like one simple video game pixel. But that's about as simple as I'm thinking about. I mean, I can't think any simpler than that. But since then, things have gone pretty complex. I mean, with all the new computers out there, I mean, operating systems, they've been quite advanced in this year. I mean, as I said at the beginning, I use Windows 10, of which since then I've sort of grown attached to because of its accelerated speed, that in the fact that it's a pretty much revamped version of Windows Vista, of which I was never the type for Windows Vista, but if used, I would probably use again. Except there's Windows 10. That thing is just the most epic operating system I've ever stumbled onto. I mean, I can't tell you. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that that much code could be loaded in to that one operating system. I mean, don't get me wrong. System32 files, critical. As anyone will know. I mean, I know. I saw the System32 file once. Actually, I've seen it more like 10 times by now. I even once saw it erased by like a virus. I mean, I had an old laptop once that was running on Windows XP, and whenever I tried to use it, it was good. That until like a virus struck it, and in the end, pretty much it erased every file, including the System32 file, which was the most critical file in the computer. I mean, who exactly would want to delete the System32 file? And I've got your answer. Someone who's trying to destroy their computer. And destruction of computers is common. I mean, there have been a few glitches from time to time, like worms, Trojan horses, even a simple virus. But I mean, they really know how to wreak havoc on your computer. I mean, Trojan horses, they can literally email themselves to every person in like your inbox or outbox list. There's the worm, which can literally find its way into code. And then there's the humble virus. Some are benign, some are simple, others can completely destroy an entire network. And that is the one thing I do not like about viruses. That almost 99% of them are not, repeat, not benign. Personally, a benign virus to me is a good virus. I don't create viruses. I'm still trying to figure out my computer, but a benign virus to me is a good virus because it A, can't harm your files, B, it doesn't have any kind of plans to destroy anything, and C, it just pretty much puts something else together. Sure, it's easy to get rid of, but so are most viruses. But worms, they're easy to find, but they're hard to get into code. I mean, once they find a program, they hook onto that thing like a fishing hook. I can see now why they call them worms. Just kidding. No, most worms are, well, they do get hooked onto programs, but they're usually like really critical programs. Like if you have like a movie to make, Windows Movie Maker, a worm can be like in the shape of like a file that you've downloaded that you don't even know where it came from. But viruses and worms are nothing compared to the Trojan horse. And no, I'm not referring to the one in Greek mythology for all you historians out there. I'm referring to the Trojan horse as in code. A Trojan horse can be disguised as something good. Like, say, a video game you always wanted, but you needed like a $29.99 download to get it, and then you ended up searching on like the internet for about like an hour and a half, and you ended up finding one, but it was free, and then all of a sudden your computer just got like infected with like, I don't know, the Saturn X virus or something. I tell you, technology is complicated, man. But if you're like me, you always strive to figure out what there is to know about it. The code, the applications, even the simple stuff like the settings. I mean, don't get me wrong, I change my theme settings now and again, my lock screen settings. I mean, I do that from time to time because I'm a Windows guy myself. I've never been the type for Linux or Apple. I don't want to. I'm not being biased or anything, but I've just never been the type for those OSs. I don't know why. There's just something about them that's sort of like negative to me. I mean, I just don't know why. I've never used like Final Cut Pro, which is what the DATV crew here uses. I mean, they've had more years of experience with it than I can count. But Final Cut and whatever Linux operating system has for like an editing software, which if they do, I pity. But I was never the type for that. I'm more the Windows Movie Maker guy. I'm the guy that you see just make a movie, and then I'm pretty much like wow any user, including Mac and Linux. But I've been a Microsoft guy for, like I said, 15 years now, and since then I've been using Word, Publisher, PowerPoint, Excel, the basic stuff. That kind of stuff, if you're illiterate, as some people might describe me, it's hard to use. But if you have experience with this stuff, then go on right ahead. Who am I to stop you? But technology is something it's hard. I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around because A, it was first introduced, I think, still in the 1900s. B, there are a lot of users on it every day. C, it comes in a different variety of operating systems. And D, you don't know if that technology could be harmful or helpful. I mean, there's too much stuff to juggle around when you know that there's stuff that you see. I mean, before you know it, you could literally be browsing like an entire website loaded with viruses. And trust me, that'd ruin your day and your computer. Which, if you spent like $15 on, you're good to go. But $200? Oh, you best start earning more money. I'm just kidding. But like I said, viruses, deadly. Some. So, if you ever run into a virus, if you can tell that it's benign, then you're good to go. They're relatively harmless sometimes, but other times they're just bent on destroying your computer, which, like I said, is not a good thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I just don't like viruses at all. I just want to see them erased off the face of the internet because that'd do me and millions of other people a lot of good. And trust me, I know you DATV viewers out there are agreeing with me. Sometimes viruses are just pesky, like ants. You could try to get rid of them, but they'll always come back. I just don't like that. I just don't. I just can't deal with viruses. But other aspects of technology, such as the code, the applications, and pretty much all the practical uses you have with it. Like I said, like editing, painting, even coding. I mean, there are some people out there that have made games from an entire, MS-DOS type of thing. Now, if you can make a game from MS-DOS, then I applaud you, because you've really got to be talented. But if you don't do anything super spectacular, you just use your computer, that's fine too. I mean, I don't do anything too big. I mean, all I do is play video games, do some painting from time to time. Yeah, I'm pretty much just like a normal kid. I use my computer. I run off of Windows 10, which I now have said like 3 times already. But people all have things that they do with their computers. Computers can range from any size to any shape. I mean, but it all comes down to like 3 core parts: the code, the tower, and the monitor. The monitor is the most important part because you won't be able to see anything if you don't have a monitor. And if you don't have a monitor, you can't play the video games that you want to play. Am I right? Am I right? Seriously. Am I right or am I right? But when one uses a computer, they've got to have at least some sort of technical experience. Otherwise, they won't know what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying that to offend all you DATV viewers out there. I'm merely putting that out Because when I first started using a computer, I literally knew NOTHING about it. We're talking nothing, a full nada, zip, zilch about it. I didn't know anything about the code, the folders. Hey, I didn't even know how to turn it on. But what I did know is that I was determined to move forward and work with computers. And since then, computers have been a major addition into my life. I think the first time I started using a computer was when I was around like 8, I believe. But since then, it's been a great addition. I mean, it's helped me with so many things, like my algebra, my essays, my English papers. What can I say? Computers are just that great. And I should know. I've loved computers ever since I first saw them. They, like I said, like twice now, they've really been a great implementation into my life that if I hadn't discovered them earlier, I would have never found out about them in the first place. But thanks to me doing that, I now know what they are, how they work, what they do, and best of all, how to use them. Because like I said, if I didn't know how to use them, I wouldn't be talking to you guys through a camera. I'm like... So, what's the big deal with computers anyways? I know I should have asked that at the beginning of the show. Anyone is anyone, I know that. But the point is, computers don't really have a big deal. I think, if the truth be known, they're what you make of them. Because computers are complicated if you don't know how to use them. But they're pretty much a piece of cake if you know how to use them. Like I said, no offense, I'm not being biased. I'm not being told to say this or anything. I'm just gonna put that right there. I'm not being told to say this. That's just me. It's all my brain. Which people have also said our brain functions like a computer. It tries to remember things. Well, not so much tries, so much as it does. But if our brains work like a computer, if our brains really work like a computer, then mine must be MS-DOS because I got the memory span of a goldfish sometimes. But, that's me. But computers, all in all, I mean, they've had quite a rough start. I mean, there was Bill Gates. I mean, he was quite the guy. I mean, he literally invented Microsoft. But then there was Steve Jobs, who came up with Mac. The one thing I don't know is, who the heck came up with Linux? I've never been told that. And if I haven't been told that, then no one else has. And I think I speak for all of you DATV viewers out there when I say that we need to know who made Linux. Fortunately, there's like tons of articles out there, so just go onto Google and you'll be able to find out. So, let's talk about users now, computer users. Us users, we treat our computers many different ways. We treat them like they're our best friends sometimes, and we treat them like they're our worst enemy. Like, I don't know, like I always treat my computer like it's my best friend. It's like a pet I never had. A very, very smart pet. One that's got like a brain the size of the Empire State Building. But in any case, the one thing that some users do is just click on a program. They do that, I do that, and we've always done that. We've always done that. I mean, how many times have you just opened up your computer and typed in like a URL and just done the things that you always want to do? Like play a few video games, put a picture together, maybe even download some music for a movie that you're making. But that's how you treat it. Me though, it's not always about computers for me. Family is a good thing, and you don't need a computer to know that. But I think everyone in my family, we do. Everyone in my family, we've used a computer for about a few years now. I mean, the first time I got a computer, it was all around like Christmas. I mean, that was like the tower. I had to use one of my old TV screens for a monitor. But that was just old news. I mean, since then, I haven't used my computer. I've used my personal computer, but I haven't used a family computer at all. I mean, since I got my own computer, I leave my computer to my parents because they use it sometimes. I mean, I'm surrounded by technology. I mean, I have a PS4, a Nintendo 3DS, a Microsoft personal computer, and like I said, runs off of Windows 10. And I think I have an AT&T tablet. So yeah, I'm not looking. By the way, I'm not trying to do product placement here, but I use technology. You use technology. We all use technology. I mean, I'm literally talking to you guys through a camera, which is a piece of technology. I mean, not a surprise though. You guys already knew that. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing this. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, well, what can I say? When you have a computer, you're ready to boss. Graphic pun. But computers themselves, complicated if no skills, easy if skills, and a piece of cake if tons of skills. Like, if you don't know how to use Paint, no problem. You'll be able to get someone to help you with that. But if you know how to program an entire game, then congratulations. You've passed my test. Or rather, my unofficial test, as it were. But I mean, there's been so many technological implementations. There was, what's one movie? Spaceballs, for one. And there's also been Star Trek. I mean, I'm sure they got an animated series, but Star Trek, that's literally in space. And they are literally on a ship, which is like filled with technology. Now that's huge. Quite literally. I mean, the ship is like the size of, I don't know, the Earth. But anyways, technology is also used to help find things. Like, say, your nearest espresso shop, your, say, like a nearest True Value, or maybe even a different location far, far away. I mean, but that kind of stuff, it's all accomplished with technology. I mean, way back then, we used to do it just like maps and our brains, but nowadays, we've got computers working for us. I mean, you want to know like the quickest time to like get to like, I don't know, Vermont or something, just use the computer. I mean, maps, Paint, location finders, it's all in computers. It's always been in computers, and it always will be in computers. I mean, one day computers will get advanced enough to eventually be able to find anything. I mean, we're already off. I mean, Windows has officially teamed up with Nokia and made the Windows Phone set that's got the Find My Phone. The Find My Phone thing is you can literally find your phone, you can ring, lock, and erase it. But that's technology. You use your phone every time. You like stream videos, you download pictures, download music. That's technology, using data for that. Now, don't get me wrong. Data isn't a bad thing, but the unlimited data plans, some are cheap, some are mad expensive, and some are just plain stupid. Of course, I'm not going to rattle off any because I don't want to be biased. But I think if the truth be known about technology, it's a thing that no one would really want to overuse. I mean, all in all, we've all used technology for quite a time. Ever since it was introduced, before you know it, before your very eyes, we've turned ourselves from a simple cave species to pretty much an entire technologically advanced city. And that to me is a big accomplishment. Not just for us, but in and of itself, because not only have we revolutionized the face of the earth, but we've also done so many things. Like I said, find locations, draw up some blueprints, and even download new applications, music and videos, etc. But we've all put ourselves in a new age, not just a new age, but a new era. No, actually, is there anything larger than an era? No, I don't think there's anything larger. But we've put ourselves in a new era of technology, an era the likes of which we may never get out of. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, mind you, but I personally think that if we continue forward, we may trigger a new era. Like, call it the Cenozoic Era 2.0. Because we may think of ourselves as trapped in technology, like we can't get ourselves out. But in reality, the answer is that's not true. We use our technology, and we've made it so that it can, what's it again? It can be used to extreme efficiency and to our best and to the best of our ability. Because like I said, we've been using technology ever since it was first invented. Not just introduced, invented. There's been like a boatload of technological companies out there. Mac, Windows, Linux, Dell, Acer, Vizio. There's been so many, it's hard to keep track. Because all that technology is going to catch up with us eventually. No future predictions here, people. I'm not going to spoil anything. What, you guys think this is a movie? Come on! But technology itself is the one thing that we've always used. And I've got the slightest feeling it's something that we will continue to use for pretty much the rest of our lives. Soon we'll think of living on Mars. We're going to need a few oxygen tanks, though, because the red planet ain't going to be green anytime soon. Anyways, technology itself is a complicated but easy thing. Once used, you'll never forget it, because that's pretty much the best implementation that ever was. But it all depends on how you, that's right, you, DATV viewers, use it. It's always been quite an honor working with technology, and I've got the slightest feeling for centuries, no, eons to come, it will always be. Anyways, it's a complicated thing to use, technology, but it all depends on how you use it, what you do with it, what apps, what music, what video. It all started with us. We invented technology, and you can be sure that we'll continue to use it, like I said, for eons, no, light years to come. So anyways, we're coming a bit down to the wire here, so my closing note is, if technology is your friend, treat it like it is. Anyways, I'd like to give a special thanks to the DATV crew, and I'd like to give a special thanks to all you viewers out there. Without further ado, this is Christian Ramos, and I'm out. See you, viewers.